There's a paradox sitting right at the heart of the business world, and it costs trillions of dollars. It's the reason companies pour fortunes into brand new technology, only to watch those investments just fizzle out. So what on earth is going on here?
First, let's just get a sense of the scale we're talking about. By 2026, companies are on pace to spend an absolutely mind-boggling $3.4 trillion on digital transformation. This isn't just pocket change. This is the capital that's supposed to build the future of these companies.
But here's where it gets crazy. Even with all that money being thrown around, the failure rate for major IT projects can be as high as 95%. And this isn't just one bad study. This number pops up again and again from places like McKinsey, BCG, you name it. Trillions of dollars being spent for what is almost a guarantee of failure.
And that brings us to the big question, right? We have technology that's more powerful, more intelligent than anything in human history. So why do we keep getting it so wrong? What is the fundamental disconnect here?
Well, it turns out the answer isn't about bad software or buggy code. The problem is much, much deeper. It's a structural failure inside our organizations, a kind of structural drift that's caused by a massive mismatch in speed.
And if you think about it, this isn't a new problem at all. This exact pattern of huge investment followed by massive disappointment, it's happened for decades. We saw it with the dot-com boom, then the mobile wave, then the cloud, then big data. And guess what? Now we're seeing it with AI. The tech changes, but the painful result stays exactly the same.
And here's the heart of that mismatch. Technology moves at lightning speed. We're talking years, sometimes even months. But the way large organizations work, their culture, their processes, they move in decades. So you have leaders, terrified of being left behind, making these huge, gut-feeling decisions about complex tech they don't really truly understand. So no, we aren't failing because the tech is bad. We're failing because we're trying to bolt futuristic AI onto these old, creaky organizational structures. We're essentially just using incredible new tools to speed up our old, broken ways of doing things. We're accelerating the drift. And the cost of this drift is just staggering. On average, companies are losing 12% of their annual revenue to these failed projects. Just let that sink in. For a $10 billion company, that's over $1 billion gone every single year. Not because of one bad project, but because of a deep, persistent structural problem. Okay, so that brings us back to AI. It looks like it's just the next player in this never-ending cycle of hype and failure. But there's a twist this time. For the first time ever, the new tech that's causing the problem might actually be the key to the solution. But listen, it is no magic bullet. In fact, right now, AI is following the exact same doomed pattern. A recent MIT report found that 95% of Gen AI pilots are failing to deliver any real financial impact. So if we just keep doing what we've always done, we are setting ourselves up for the same expensive mistakes all over again. So what's the big twist? Well, unlike every other technology that was just a tool like a faster hammer, AI can be a reasoning partner. It has this unique ability to take in massive amounts of complex information and then explain it. It can bridge that critical translation gap between the super technical folks and the business leaders who have to make the decisions. Now, to actually use that unique power, we need a whole new way of working. It's a disciplined framework that completely redefines the roles of humans and AI when it comes to making these huge, expensive decisions. Think of it as a separation of powers. AI gets a new job title, the Analyst. Its job is to prepare the case. It synthesizes all the data, it benchmarks all the options, it finds the gaps in the logic. But, and this is key, it never, ever decides. The human becomes the interrogator. Your job is to challenge everything the AI gives you, to apply business context, and ultimately to own the decision and live with the consequences. And there's a third, super important role, the sponsor. This is the senior leader, the one with the checkbook. But their job changes in a huge way. They no longer just sign off on a project. Instead, they sign off on the rigor of the process that led to that decision. They're making sure a real tough interrogation actually took place. So that all sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work in the real world? How do you apply this to making decisions about where to spend money without just grinding the whole company to a halt? The key here is a really smart idea called tiered friction. See, not every decision needs a full-blown investigation. Small bets, the reversible decisions under $250,000, they can move fast. But as the investment gets bigger and the risk goes up, so does the level of governance. For those huge bets, anything over $2 million, the full analyst interrogator process becomes absolutely mandatory.
And for those big career-making decisions, there are some non-negotiable rules. A specific human has to own the decision. The AI's financial numbers have to be checked against other sources. And, most importantly, you create an audit loop. After the fact, you go back and review the decision to see if the AI was right and if the human's challenges actually made the decision better. This is how the process becomes a real learning system, not just a bunch of rules.
But look, a framework is just a tool. To really truly break this cycle of failure, this whole process has to be matched with a much deeper cultural shift inside the company.
We have to get away from the old way, which was all about rewarding pure activity. Things like agile velocity, which basically just track if people are busy, not if they're making progress. The new way demands that we focus on outcome-based contracts, and it puts IT back in its proper role as a technical craft that's focused on solving really hard business problems.
At the end of the day, this framework gives us a real path to finally break that multi-trillion-dollar paradox. It's about using AI not to just accelerate our old failures, but to build a totally new discipline for making smart decisions. The real question is your organization ready to make that shift? Are you ready to stop funding activity and start governing for actual outcomes?